Hello people, today we're going to be starting our second episode of the How to Cannon series, and today we're going to be starting on our power and getting it working and showing you how infinite boosters and how to set up a stair barrel. And the exact cannon that we're going to be making throughout this series is a 255. It's going to be a 3-second stair barrel, efficient nuke, and all these words combined is going to be able to adjust up and down and left and stuff like that. And although this may sound intimidating right now, I promise by the end of this, you'll be able to understand exactly what every single part of the cannon does. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the idea that we're gonna want to do it with a stair barrel, which is one of the most common barrels you'll see today, and that's why I'm making it because I don't want this series to be outdated, is you'll have a setup that looks similar to this in your barrel. And the barrel is just where your TNT, where your sand, where everything comes out of. And your power, which is what's actually going to be shooting the TNT out and what we're going to be building today, is going to hit this trapdoor and land here. And everything else is going to come in through a hole, and it's going to hit in the bottom half of it's going to hit the stair. The TNT here is going to explode and it's going to shoot up. And one thing about barrels and one thing about TNT in general is when you give a piece of TNT velocity, or in this, yeah, so like if a piece of TNT explodes here and there's a piece of TNT like nooked into the corner of that stair, this is how it works, right? So firstly, it's going to use up all of its Y value, and then it's going to go and it's going to use up all of its Y value until it can't no more, until it hits a block. And if it hits a block, it's going to start using whichever direction it was pushed. So if this stair was on this side and the TNT got here, it would go up and it would hit the top, and then it would go this way. But since the stair is on this side, it's going to go up. First, it's going to use up all of its Y, and then it's going to use up all of its like sideways. I don't remember the exact coordinate. But then if it hits a block again, it's going to use up all of its this way. And we'll get more into that in next episode when we look at hammers and red sand and stuff like that. But let's get into building this power. Okay, so you're going to want to start off going about 4 blocks up, and we're going to be making something called infinite boosters. And when I make these, it's going to look kind of weird at first, but I will explain them. And if you're on a Canon server, you could probably just follow along. We're going to go ahead and slash stack 14 up, and we're going to take this, and we're going to go slash stack 14. So we end up with a 15 by 15 power, which comes down to 225 power per side, or 450 power in total. And the reason we want so much power is because I'm going to tell you, not now, but in a future video when we look at the hammer and sand stacking and stuff and how this fusion is actually working, you're going to see why we need 2 separate powers. And don't think of this as one big power because we're going to be making a fusion. So think of this as this is the first power, this is the second power, or this is the first power, this is the second power. And you'll see that in a minute uh, when we start wiring this thing up. So on the server that I'm on, I could do this and do slash wire. But if you're on a Canon server, just go ahead and repeat this process. I'll show you kind of how to do it on this side. So basically, this process of wiring your Canon, you're just making sure you're powering all the dispensers really. And then you're just going to do this, basically this all the way up and all the way over. And a quick way to do that with World Edit for the people who don't have that nice wire command, I'll show you. Because you probably have World Edit on your server. Remember, to get a wand, you just do slash wand. So a quick way to do it is just wire one row like this. Take your wand, select the bottom part as your position 1, select this repeater at the top as position 2, and go / stack 7. Boom, you got it, and then you just got to cut off this last row if you have a 15 long power. And you could have longer powers, it doesn't really matter. But for now, we're just going to stick with something very simple in this power. And now you could kind of design this however you want or make it look however you want in the back. I personally like it kind of like this. I kind of like it like this because that's just how I am. And let's go make that barrel that I was talking or let's go ahead and down here and we'll start making the infinite boosters. And this may seem kind of weird still, but again, I will explain how every single part of this works given time. So this is where the TNT is going to be coming out of. It's going to be shooting out of this hole and into here. And we'll make the barrel here in a minute. Right now we're still making the power. And we could use world edit to go ahead and stack this upwards. And again, this stuff that you have on the edge is completely up to you. There's no right way or wrong way. This is just how I personally like to design my stuff. I usually like to place ladders at the top here, although not required. I just like it. So now that you're here, we can actually make the barrel. So what we're gonna do for the barrel is we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Boom, 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 boom. Lots of booms. And we just place blocks. And basically, we're gonna get a slab and go here and here. And this is where all of our sand, this is where our hammer, this is where our, if we had a scatter, this is where this would come through, this is where our nuke would come through, this is where our red sand comes through, and everything of the matter. But today we are focusing on the power and only the power. So on some, I'm not even going to talk about that. I was going to say on some servers you might not need this trapdoor, but I recommend placing it because not all servers are the same, and sometimes you will need it. It doesn't do much bad stuff for your cannon. Now let's finally get into infinite boosters. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you could do something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, I'll tell you what this is doing here in a minute. Just follow along for now. I'll actually set this to glass so that you could see it a little bit better. So it, and then I'll put this here just to show so that you could see for now. This would usually be closed up. You would probably block this off or whatever, put glass there, but just so that we could see what's happening, I'm going to leave this open. So now let's go ahead and do this. That's not exactly what I wanted. We're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to wire this booster up. Okay, I'm so slow. And you don't have to make your cannon out of obsidian, by the way. Like, that's totally optional. There's some people in the factions community who make their cannons out of, like, spruce wood. Don't be those people. But, like, they do exist. Okay, so now we have, and I'm just going to place the button here. We're going to make a button spammer here in a minute. And maybe I'll reserve that as part of the next episode. We'll make the button spammer. But here, or maybe, no, I'll do it this episode. So if I fire this button right now, and I TNT fill, you could kind of see what's going on. Okay, well, let me TNT toggle so that you could actually see the TNT. So this gets boosted first. And if you saw it really quickly, so basically what happens, all this TNT dispenses. It's going to be all like this. And then in rapid succession, this goes off, which boosts all these TNT into here, but it also boosts all the power up to here. And then this TNT goes off, and immediately what it does is it boosts this TNT all into one block and it boosts the power up in here. This goes off and it boosts it into the power. So let's go ahead and wire up the power so you can see exactly what I mean. And I'll tell you exactly what these ticks mean here in a minute. As you can see, this falls, everything gets boosted into this, and you can see what I mean. It hits this trap door and it falls and it blows up in there. So what these ticks mean right here, and the reason this one is on more ticks than this side, is because in the future, and I'll give a brief explanation right now, but in the future, we want our everything to be able to go through one block. Right, when we're shooting at a wall and we have a cannon box, say this is our cannon box wall, we want to be able to shoot through this one web because if we had to shoot through two, the enemies could just walk right through our box, and that would not be good. So we need a way to do this. We can't have everything just in the same block because if everything's in the same block, well, if the hammer explodes, it's not going to be able to shoot anything down. So what happens is there's two steps to this. In a normal cannon with no nuke and everything, and we're not going to talk about the nuke yet, but it is a thing and it is there, and we'll talk about that soon. The sand will get shot through. It'll be given 2 ticks, and here's why the 2 ticks difference is here. So the sand gets shot out with this power right here. The sand gets shot out with your first power. That's what we call it, the first power. Right? So firstly, the sand gets shot out, and then it has 2 ticks to do nothing. As you can see, there's a 2-tick difference between these two powers. It has 2 ticks to do nothing, and what does it do? It falls down. It falls down uh, as far as it falls down in 2 ticks. And then what gets shot out? This side, this power, or our second power. And this power is responsible for shooting our hammer and stuff of that nature. So in this case, our hammer gets shot out now. And now we're in a perfect spot. If our hammer explodes right now, it's going to shoot our sand down and stack. And then anything inside here will explode and the wall will explode. And that's why we have a 2-tick difference so that we could shoot in fusion like that. So now let's go ahead and make a button spammer. And this is just going to be a very crude button spammer for now. Nothing crazy. We'll have a button and a lever on it. And then from here, what you want to do is you'll have another one. It seems weird, but you'll have another one. Don't worry about it. Boom, boom, right? And then you'll have a piston that takes some sort of movable block, right? That goes here. Also one that goes here. And then you'll take a redstone repeater and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 ticks. One here, and then for a 3-second, which is what we're making, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this clock could be used for anything, any time, any speed, except when you get down to the really low speeds like 0.5s and stuff like that. But we don't need to talk about that now because we're talking a little bit more realistic on servers. And however, remember back to the first video, in the very beginning, we looked at redstone ticks and about what their relevancy was, and we realized that they're a tenth of a second. So how many tenths of a second is in this little loop right here is how fast your cannon will be. So right now this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If we let this go right now, like if I put this on a lever, this is going to be going, this redstone output is going to be hit every 0.8 seconds. So if we attach this to our cannon, this would make our cannon a 0.8 seconds. So it would go, ideally, if we made our cannon correctly, it would go through a wall every 0.8 seconds. But we want this to be a 3-second. So what do we have to do? We say there's 8 here, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And since there's 36 here, um, and everyone's a tenth of a second, that means every 3 seconds, this output will get got. And this is just a little system to make sure that when you turn it off and everything is good to go. And as you can see, now we have a 3-second button spammer. And it's called a button spammer because you could just hold the button. And this is what you'll typically do on a server because a lot of servers actually do not allow you to flip a lever. But on test servers, it's very convenient to have a lever. So now we have a button spammer and we got to connect it up to our power. And you're going to see a problem here. A problem that Canon has fixed a long time ago. So when we put this on, as you can see, it falls down, it shoots, explodes. But wait, what happened? It's going to start messing up. Why is it messing up? Well, see, we have an issue. And let me let this explode for a minute, and now I'll tell you this issue. Our TNT is exploding right here. If a new piece of TNT is falling down, like when this gets shot out, a new one falls down, obviously. If a new one falls down right here and then this explodes, it's going to shoot this TNT all over the place in here. So we have to figure out a way to fix that problem and make it where there's maybe something here blocking this explosion from affecting here. And there's a few ways to do this. If your server allows banners and banners work like they should, you could just put a banner here and this will solve it. I'm going to show you another way, a more reliable way I find for servers that works on more servers. And for some reason, explosions don't affect anything through banners. So now this works as a 3-second power. Let me turn this off. Now I will show you the more reliable way, the way that I prefer, because it feels like it just works on more servers. Also, in my opinion, I think this way looks cooler. So if you put a sticky piston here, and I will show you this in a minute, and go boom. And then you take a redstone torch and push this right here. Now you have this block. But you need a way to open this up to allow the power in here when it's ready to be shut out. So how do we do that? We K 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we want 10 full repeaters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And it's going to end up being 40. 40 redstone ticks or 4 seconds. And great, awesomely, a piece of TNT takes 10 redstone ticks to explode. So what that means is when this first infinite booster gets powered, this is going to slowly creep up to here. It's going to open when this one's exploding, and which will shoot the power in here, and then this block is going to close back up again right before this explodes, so the power that's in here does not affect the new TNT that's falling. And you'll get to see that in action now. Watch that very carefully. It opens, it closes, it explodes. It opens, it closes, it explodes. Opens, lets it in, closes, explodes. And now we have a functional power that's a 2-second power, and you are well on your way to making a great first cannon. There's not much to powers, as you can see. As you get into the faster powers, there's a lot more cooler things that you could do, and a lot more things that you might need to do, like raising your power up a little bit, having different ticks on these, maybe doing like piston queuing. But nowadays with servers, it's usually a 3 or 4 second time limit, and this will get you pretty far when it comes to cannoning, and it's definitely a great start. Honestly, this is probably the power that I make the most. And I'm just gonna set this obsidian. Okay, obsidian. I'm going to set this obsidian because that's what I like. And again, you could put whatever you want. How you actually make stuff, like how you actually make things look, you could even use slabs here or whatever, but however you make your cannon look besides the ticks is completely up to you, which is another great thing about cannoning in my opinion. And Yeah, that's a 3 second power, and now you know how to make your own powers, and you should be able to make your own powers now. So if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like, comment any questions you have at all, and I will make sure to answer them. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I'll make sure to answer your questions in the comments. And next time we'll be working on the hammer and the red sand, and we'll finally actually get to see stuff coming out of here, and shooting at the wall. And then right after the hammer, we're going to go into the sand comp. And right after the sand comp, we're going to go into the nuke. And then once we have the nuke done and dusted, we'll have a fully functional cannon. And you will know how to cannon from there. So again, I'm for Fun. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.